You know who?
But that's not who we're
You know
talking
who's a
about
good
today.
defender, and was on the all defensive team, and wished that he and hoped that he would be a Milwaukee Buck for the rest of his career. That's Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday. Yeah. Don't.
Oops.
The thing is for NBA players, I know you love your teams that you're on sometimes. Don't tell the press or any media reporter anything. Just don't. Anything about wanting to do something, just don't. Because turns out the basketball guys are going to flip that. They're going to flip that switch. I mean, Drew Holiday really said this yesterday, guys. I'm a Buck for life, and I mean that like deep in my heart. I don't want to play for any other team. Newsflash, man. That's what basketball is. That's the way basketball does.
I don't blame him for saying that though, because like who in their mind had him on the trading block? Who thought that Damian Lillard was going? I mean, anywhere other than like the couple spots he was rumored. I was Milwaukee like a destination for Dame, like in on anybody's radar.
I don't think so. I think it was more like Milwaukee
No.
was more about like talking about Giannis being a trade piece for a future trade happening in the
Yeah,
future because of Giannis's like sort of awkward situation with Milwaukee over the course of this offseason.
yeah. I would imagine like Drew kind of thought he was safe because like he didn't know any of that was going on. Because
Yeah.
if he kind of heard there were some rumors going on, maybe he would have walked back some of those statements and not looked like I don't know, not get hung out to dry like that in the media. That kind of
Yeah.
it's a bad look. I don't know what else to say. But he's a nice guy too, so that
For
sucks.
context, if you're not an NBA nerd or watcher or enthusiast, Damian Lillard was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks today, about a couple of hours ago. Today.
Blockbuster deal.
Huge deal, 3-team deal. Everyone thought he was going to Miami, but no. Damian Lillard is going to be a Milwaukee Buck alongside Giannis, who is a top 5 player of all time right now, and he's only 29, and Lillard's like 33, 32, tail end of his prime.
3-3.
Yeah, yeah. Still a great player, one of the best offensive point guards in the NBA. But this is huge, and no one saw this coming. No one. I mean, if you look at the trade, honestly, like you don't really see Milwaukee giving up that much for Lillard.
Yeah, whatever the actual detail is, I forget what it is off the top of my head, but I think Milwaukee really capitalized on the fact that Portland had very little leverage in this trade after, Portland superstar Dame just says like, "Hey, I want out." And how much bargaining room does Portland have when people are trying to offer them trades when they're like, "No, we want more." It's like, okay, well, you're not getting anything then. You're not going to get anything for your superstar who's reaching the end of his prime. So Milwaukee really sold that well.
Yeah, yeah. Brian, what about Jimmy Butler? I mean, he really wanted Dame on his team, and now he's claiming that the Bucks tampered for him.
Yeah, well, so first I want to talk about offer mindset on the trade. So I have the trade pulled up. Bucks get Lillard. Blazers get Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Tumani Kamara, 2029 first round Bucks pick, and the pick swap. And the Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Nazir Little, Keon Johnson, and Grayson Allen. So like you both mentioned, this was a blockbuster 3-team trade that really just came out of nowhere. I mean, there were some rumors floating around that the Bucks definitely want to get this done before training camp, and they did. But I would have never thought the Bucks was where Lillard was going. And Jerry, I believe you mentioned this, but you're right. I mean, the Blazers didn't really, or sorry, the Bucks didn't really give up much depth pieces. I mean, like they only really gave up Grayson Allen, and he's replaceable. So like the Bucks still have they still have the Chris Middleton. They still have a solid bench. Like this isn't even like when the Warriors had Durant, Curry, and Clay, and then just an awful bench. Like the Bucks bench is still good. Like they have Bobby Portis. Like this is a deep team. So there's that. But then to answer your question, so yeah, Jimmy Butler went on an Instagram video and was like, "I'm not saying this. I have a source that I'm not saying who the source is, but the NBA needs to look in tampering, and the Bucks tampering for Lillard." Now, I'm interested to see if that's true or not, so I kind of want the investigation to happen. But whether or not that's true or not, it's kind of hypocritical because Miami tampered hard for Kyle Lowry, and like they were punished for it. Like the Knicks tampered for Brunson. They both lost second round picks, but since this trade technically I don't think is official because you have to wait till like the new league year passes or something. Depending on if the Bucks did, I wonder if this trade can go through, or it still goes through and then the Bucks just lose like a second round pick or something. But I'm interested to see it. I saw the video in addition to the tweet, so like Butler looked serious about it. Maybe it's just he's salty because he wanted Damian Lillard and he's just like trying to spice things up in the media. But
It's kind of hard to look.
I'd be curious to see if this is true.
It's kind of hard to look serious when your hair is like covered with beads. I mean, did you see his hair?
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's always got a new hairstyle. Like
Yes.
when he grew out his dreads just for the picture last year, and then just cut it, and then they had to use that all year, even though he didn't look anything like that.
Yeah.
He's very unserious, so I wouldn't doubt that he was just saying that just to get a reaction. I guess
out of
I
spite.
can understand why he'd be upset, though. Yeah, I can understand why he'd be upset. I feel like Miami's entire offseason was gearing up to acquire Damian Lillard, build around him, run it back with. You were saying stuff about the Heat earlier too, Jeremy. You can take this. If you
I
want.
feel like Jimmy Butler doing this out of spite. I think he's just doing this out of spite and jealousy because he knows he wanted Lillard on the team because it would be perfect. I mean, Lillard, Bam, Butler. I mean, that would be a great little trio right there, and Miami would still continue to take a lot of control in the East. And now, since they've lost Gabe Vincent and Max Strus to other teams, they spent all their energy they could on getting Lillard, and it didn't happen. Yeah, cue his hair. Look at that hair. It just look at those little beads, man. It looks like he just woke up. He woke up out of bed. He's like those old ladies. They're wearing like those little I don't know what you call the little hair things that keep your hair intact when you sleep.
Like a bonnet, you're saying?
I guess. I never
think.
used one, so therefore I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I don't have much hair to.
A bonnet. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is why we have our good friend Mike.
Yeah,
on the podcast. Thank you.
he tells us
Yeah.
hair facts.
Yeah, it's just like the Spurs offense of the early 2010s. Everybody has a role here.
Yeah.
Right? It all comes together real nice.
Beautiful.
And you get Cut the Nets episode
36.
Celtic Shack.
Episode 36. By the way, we did not introduce ourselves. My name is Jeremy. That's Brian. Andy's our guest. Meyer, of course, our producer. We are, of course, talking about the Damian Lillard trade. It just happened again today, so we're just kind of covering it, kind of going over it. We'll also be going over our Eastern Conference standings predictions, all three of us. Later in this episode, we'll go over the Western Conference next week, so stay tuned for that. I'm excited for that Western Conference because, guys, it's going to be a freaking bloodbath. I feel like all our predictions are not going to be similar. I feel like they're all not going to be similar, aside from like maybe like Denver and LA, but like all of them are not going to be similar for the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, I feel like it's going to be kind of the same. Like we're all kind of have like the same. Maybe a couple of teams are shifted, but like for the most part, I feel like it'll be mostly the same. But yeah, like and subscribe if you enjoy basketball content, especially talking about the NBA. And yeah, we also talk about other things surrounding the NBA, including pop culture and Jimmy Butler's hair, if you want to talk about that. But yeah, we're going to keep on going. Anything to discuss more about this trade with Damian Lillard? What about the Portland Trailblazers? Like, what was their end goal there? Like, are they trying to keep Drew Holiday or just kind of keep those picks they receive? I think they might just dump Drew Holiday, and the Heat might want Drew Holiday since they didn't get Lillard.
Yeah, well, first of all, Dame Dolla just dropped his farewell song. Or is going to drop his farewell song for Portland. So be on the lookout for
I'm
that.
excited.
Now what Portland's going to do is, it's obvious, Drew Holiday's gone. It's going to be like Carmelo Anthony on the Hawks. It's just going to be something that happens for Germany, a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be gone. I mean, they're already going to have teams that could,
Simpsons meme, the old guy just walking in and walking out.
Yeah. They're already going to be – there's already suitors going after Drew Holiday. I mean, I could see the Heat getting him in a last case scenario because now they kind of their whole offseason is a dud because now they're only since they struck out with Dame big time, they're really only rocking out with Josh Richardson. So I could see them going after Drew Holiday. I could see the Brooklyn Nets going after Drew Holiday. And now the Boston Celtics need a point guard. I could see them going after Drew Holiday. So he is definitely not staying in Portland. They are starting the whole rebuild in Rip City, and yeah, they'd probably be a dumpster fire for a few years. But that's what they had to
I think
do.
I like. I mean, Aiden's going to be in Portland, so that's cool.
I mean, Aiden will be in Portland, yeah.
Full contract, they're fully guaranteed. He's not going to be a free agent for the next few seasons. Wait, what's up?
We still can hear it, Meyer.
We can just put it in.
Yeah,
later
we
if
can put it
it's
in later,
too long.
man. You're kind of just
Yeah.
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 What was I saying? Yeah,
Thank you, Mike.
DeAndre Ayton. I mean, like he's going to be the mostly the veteran along with Jeremy Grant on the team. So I wouldn't say they're going to be terrible. I would say they're just not going to be as well. They're probably going to be just as good record wise, if not a little bit less compared to last season.
Or they'll be definitely less entertaining to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, they're not going to be like a primetime team. I mean, unless you want to count Scoot Henderson.
Yeah,
Scoot Henderson highlights.
You got to think about the young guys they have. I mean, so they obviously just drafted Scoot. He's going along next to Shaden Sharp. Anthony Simons is still there. You know, people started calling him like a younger version of Dame. That might be a bit ambitious, but it's still going to be exciting to see how he develops. Aiton's going to be there. Jeremy Grant is going to kind of round out the veterans. Matisse Thybulle is going to be there too. You know, I don't know if he's a game changer, but somebody that
Defense.
can kind of affect the game on both sides of the ball.
It's a defense, not offense. He can shoot.
Are they going to be like? Are they going to be tanking for like the number 1 overall pick the next year? No. Are they going to be a playoff team? Probably not. But they're not going to suck. They're just going to be not good.
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
I would say, yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think they're going to be like tanking for another, lottery pick. I just don't think that's going to be in their MO because they already got Scoot. They've got some really decent depth, as you mentioned, with Sharp and Simmons. So or Simons. So yeah, I mean they have 2 veteran players. They just got Ayton, who's a great center when it comes to empty stats. So he's perfect for the team. Perfect.
Known DeAndre Ayton hater.
Bro,
Jeremy
he is such a cancer to a team, dude. That's why the Suns gave him up for Yusuf Nurkic and other bench players. Come on, man.
I understand what you mean, but this is his second team.
Now
right?
the Suns don't
had
have
to
a
come
center.
into the league and
I mean, Yusuf Nurkic is a center, but like he's not really a center, if you know what I mean.
he doesn't have to be though. There's so much star power in the backcourt and the forwards of that I don't know if he has to be. Maybe that will work out for them. Maybe that won't. I do think not enough people are talking about how Phoenix is going to fare in this trade. So let's see, because they get Nurkic, Nazir Little, Keon Johnson, and Grayson Allen. The big thing that everybody was kind of saying, from their exit in the playoffs last year was they don't have enough depth. They have Booker, they had Ayton, they have Durant and stuff like that, and now they're going to have Bradley Beal join them. They still don't have enough depth. This helps them with their depth. I don't know if it pushes them to like be a bona fide like, wow, this team's so well rounded, like they have no holes. I want to know what you guys think.
They definitely need some size still. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they like what. Who's their starting center now?
It would be Yusuf Nurkic.
Nurkic.
Right? Yeah.
Again, I think he's just bench capable. I don't think he's like the Nurkic from 4 or 5 years ago.
I don't know. I think if he's finally healthy and on a better team, I think he'll
just be like
better. I actually.
Good.
That's why I really like this trade for all 3 teams. I think it's a win-win-win. Obviously, Milwaukee will probably keep Giannis happy, extend that championship window. Phoenix, like Andy said, definitely improves their bench. And then Portland offloads Dame, get draft picks, and then they're going to offload Drew Holiday and get a bigger package. So I think that they're both going to be – all 3 teams are set up for success in their own way. And then, like Meyer said, he doesn't need to be like the top 10 center that he once was, as long as he can know his role and play defense. I mean, I've even seen some people say that they should start Grayson Allen over Josh Okogie, but I just think for the too many shooting guards, as good as it would be to add defense onto that team, I think they just have too many shooting guards. So I think you should keep Grayson Allen off the bench.
Yeah, I don't think Grayson Allen should be a starter. I don't think.
I don't know if he fits well with what's going on over there.
Yeah, it's just a lot of offense, tons of offense. I mean, especially from the.
I mean, he'll be there for like the kick out three because they have so many ball dominant guys. I guess.
Again, Bradley Beal, Booker's going to be the facilitator. That's what they're going to have. They're going to make Booker the point guard, which is still weird to me. But maybe Booker might unleash a new development and not be the scorer that everyone knows he is, and be more of a facilitating passer, because Bradley Beal can't pass.
Yeah, that wasn't his job in Washington when it was him and Wall.
No,
he was
not.
He was the guy that John Wall would pass to if John Wall wasn't scoring.
Yeah, and then when John Wall left, the Wizards sucked. And then you just had Bradley Beal with like 30 points per game every single season. So.
And they lose by 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
No hatred to the Wizards.
No hatred, man. Even though the Wizards are definitely going to be. He was definitely suffering. No, he was for sure suffering. Like, I'm glad he's on a better team, but I mean, these Suns. It's a wild card from you in this Phoenix Suns team. I mean, yeah, good trade for everybody, but I really feel like they just. There's too much Hollywoodness with this team. If you kind of understand what I'm get my drift, like there's too much Hollywood in this team.
Yeah, they're their own worst enemy.
Yeah,
they're their biggest challenge.
Yeah, I mean there's no team that's better on paper unless the Suns get in their own way, which I think they will. Magic
Kevin Durant kind of has that
power.
Too much star power, but I mean I guess Kevin Durant has always been great with stars because he's a good off ball guy. Again, I will like to see how Booker and Bradley Beal play together. It's just two offensive players who don't pass the ball very much. And yeah, you could say that Booker may have learned a facilitation with Chris Paul, but it's not going to be Chris Paul. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm definitely.
You think it's similar to
what's up?
Sorry, you think it's gonna be similar to what happened in Brooklyn with the Kyrie, James Harden, and Durant experiment there?
No,
and that
I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel like even though they do have some of the same players on the Suns, Kevin Durant is only good on a team if he doesn't have bad players around him. It's sort of like players that have egos, because James Harden has an ego. His ego has been blowing up to proportions this whole offseason. He wanted to be in Philadelphia instead of Brooklyn initially. Kyrie, of course, is off the court issues. So I don't really think there's going to be any sort of off the court issues. I think that most of the players are going to be on the court for the entire season, barring any injuries. So I don't think that's going to be the issue. I just feel like there's only one basketball. And they're not going to make it seem like it was like 4 or 5 basketballs, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. The Nets didn't have that problem. The Nets had Harden who can facilitate, and Durant's great with facilitators, and Kyrie can score.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't stay healthy, or their egos were too high. So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, that Brooklyn Nets trio only played 7 games together, so I think it's going to be different. I mean, they didn't work just because they couldn't stay healthy. And because of the antics of both Harden and Kyrie, this team won't work. This Phoenix Suns team won't work just because if they get too ball dominant, and if Devin Booker can work with Bradley Beal, if Bradley Beal can be the point guard. So that's more of their issues there. So I don't really think it's going to be like Brooklyn. And plus, I still say, like, bear none, even if, like, all hell breaks loose, like, Bradley Beal and Devin Booker don't work well. Kevin Durant, I don't know, something happens. Like they're still gonna, unlike Brooklyn, win a playoff series just because of the star talent they have on that team, as opposed to Brooklyn, who got swept last year.
Yeah. And most players on the Suns, besides Durant, who's injury prone, don't really get injured that much. So pretty decent injury history besides Durant. So I don't think that'll be an issue either. Can we get to Skip Bayless's tweet about the fact that the Bucks are worse after trading away Drew Holiday and getting Damian Lillard?
Known basketball savant Skip Bayless. Surely he's never had a bad take about anything, right?
Makes the Bucks a little worse. Okay. If I really think about this, I see his point, but I don't agree with it. But I see it. He's talking about defense.
Yeah, that's the only thing he could be talking about.
That's the only logical way,
Yeah.
Well, offensively, like I feel like the game plan against the Bucks a lot of the time in the past couple of years has been whoever's playing point guard for them, whether it's Drew Holiday or somebody else was in. You try when they're working like the pick and roll with Giannis, you know, you're not giving them like a red carpet to go score, but you're almost like trying to get them to try and have the ball in their hands more than Giannis does. And although Drew Holiday wasn't an amazing scorer, he was still pretty good or something like that. But when you sub that out, you were running that same play with Damian Lillard, who is, you know, the most prolific scorer in the game today, probably, or at least was for the past couple of years. I mean, that just ramps their offense up to another level because you still have Brook Lopez there. You still have a bunch of the other guys that fill their bench that are going to be good kick-out options and stuff. So, I mean, offensively, I think this might make them one of the highest scoring teams in the league, at least with their starting five, because that just kind of patches a big hole that I think teams were trying to expose with the Bucks for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Defensively is a different story, but
I mean everything Andy said, and I feel like the other person that's benefiting from this that no one really talks about is Chris Middleton. I think that obviously just having Damian Lillard and Giannis, because Chris Middleton didn't do that well last year, especially in the playoffs. So now that he kind of slides into the third scoring option, I think his stats, like his points per game, may go down a little bit, but I think he'll be a way more of an efficient player. Like I think his field goal and 3-point field goal percentages will be up. I think with less shots, he can now focus more on defense. Like I think it will make him a better all-around player.
Yeah, he'll be the glue guy for sure. I think that's kind of more going to be his role. You got Pat Connaughton, who's going to be probably a three-wing guy, and you've got Brook Lopez, you know, who's going to be really good on the defensive end too, especially in the interior. He's aging though. I mean, he's going to be 36, if I'm not mistaken. He was a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year last season. So, you know, I'm not saying 36 is going to be end all be all. In 1 year, he's going to totally suck. It's just that there have been players who, when they age, their speed is a bit diminished on the court. So we'll see about that. I mean, Brook Lopez can still shoot the three really well. His defense will probably be sorely needed, especially in the interior when Giannis is out. They got Bobby Portis on the bench. I still.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's right, Brian.
Interviewed him.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, nice plug.
drop a link in the description.
Nice plug. Nice plug. Yeah.
Thank you.
We've interviewed players too, Brian.
Yeah. Well, they also got they got the guy that's going to beat up every mascot, Robin Lopez, Brooks Brothers, on the team.
Yeah. So the Lopez brothers are going to just tear up the interior.
Cavs legend.
Bulls legend.
Oh yeah.
Also
coming to a retirement home near you.
Also Grizzlies legend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Journeyman for sure.
Grizzlies legend. Immaculate grid guys, by the way. Yeah. Just plugging it there. You guys want it. All right.
Malik Beasley.
Malik Beasley.
Is another important piece to that puzzle as well.
Yeah.
And Jay Crowder.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay Crowder.
It's funny because he didn't play at all when they acquired him last year, and he got pissed off of that, and then he re-signed. So hopefully they give him the minutes that he deserves because he's still good on defense, and I think they'll definitely use him more because of the fact that Drew Holiday is not going to be there anymore. I think that this team is still probably going to be a top 2 team in the East.
No more Budenholzer too, so change some rotation.
Yeah, they're
honestly, since they got Giannis and Thanasis and the Lopez brothers, could we bring back Zoran Dragic into the league so he could be bros with Goran They have 3 brothers on one team. 3 sets of brothers on one team. That has to be a record.
Yeah.
The fact that Goran Dragic has a brother named Zoran Dragic, like, that sounds fake. That's some shit that you see in, like, 2K, like, that your little brother made, and you're like, oh, dude, come on. That
Is
would
he-
never
was he
happen.
from,
It's kind of
uh,
funny because there's like
Is he from Croatia? Or no?
I think so.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Slovenia.
Oh, Slovenia.
Slovenia.
Yeah, because there's
Goran and Zoran.
like in football, there's James Dalvin Cook and then Dalvin James Cook, and then this is a controversial guy, so I'm not going to talk about his stuff. But Wander Franco has 3 brothers named Wander Franco.
Hopefully they arrest the right guy.
They're all named Wander?
Hopefully they arrest the
Oh,
right
God.
guy.
Are they all named Wander as well?
Yeah.
All right.
How do you, when the parents call him for dinner, is it like Wander?
Wander 1, Wander 2.
Okay,
Wander-
Wander. Come on. Yeah, they just
Wander's wife, Wander 2, Wander 3.
Or maybe it's like Lilo and Stitch, where you dress them by a number, like 1,
George
2,
Foreman
3,
has a
like
family of
Spear-
George. George Foreman has a family.
George Foreman does have a family of George
Oh my
Foremans.
God.
Like, that's like he's known for 2 things, like the grill and like naming every single one of his kids George somehow. Even
He
the
has to
women, like,
keep the
names
brand
them
going,
kinda like
man. He
George.
has to. It's one of the more popular grills of all time.
That's why you have 2 names, though. You give the one name, they give whatever they want, and they keep Foreman. It doesn't have to be George Foreman. Like, there literally is George Foreman 1, 2, 3, 4. I think. Like,
no,
I'm not exaggerating.
nepotism
I'm pretty sure
is going to be at an all-time high. He has to, like, his daughters and sons, even though if they're named George, it can be Georgie, you know, like it.
Or Georgia.
Georgia, yeah.
If I meet a girl out at a bar and her name's George, like, are you still talking to that girl? I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that I have game whatsoever, but it's just like,
Oh, Andy, you have
hi,
game.
Miss
You definitely have
George.
game.
Yeah, Dandy Andy, baby.